Hi, welcome to Wisecat. Well, today a little bit of an unexpected topic came up because there was a YouTube comment on my last YouTube video about Moodle 4.4 when we took a look at the beta beta release candidate that was out anyway. Now Moodle 4.4 has been released, and this comment came up in response to my last video. Love your video. Yeah, always happy to hear that. But what happens in Moodle 4.4 if you want to show the size of a file? Version 4.3 can create a line that generates greater vertical displacement. Using CSS, I've been able to leave 4.3 looking similar to 3.11 in terms of scrolling, but I have not been able to eliminate that line. I have also not been able to eliminate the vertical spacing that is now created when you create a label solely with an HR, horizontal rule that is, as a separation between activities. Let's see if now with 4.4 the issue of vertical scrolling improves a little. Okay, thank you very much for your comment and for the question. And if I might say so, this particular comment ended up sending me down quite the rabbit hole because and I wasn't really expecting it. So I'm going to take you down for the same kind of a ride, so buckle up and let's go. Alright, so if I go shrink myself down there again, I've got here a pretty much a empty Moodle 4.4. This is a fresh 4.4 install. So if I just look, you can see, yep, 4.4 build 422. So that's like yesterday. That's like the first release. Yeah, it's fresh. Check for updates. I doubt there'll be any because, yep, I'm up to date because this is a fresh install. Okay, so what I'm going to do, what I've done is I've actually made myself a little how big is that file course here. So now I'm going to just grab a file. And now I can't find my file. I'm going to pause the video while I'm searching for my file. Sorry. Okay, now I've found my file. I am going to turn editing on over in here. And let's just add it to this new section here. So I'll just drag it over. It's a QR code. I'm going to drop it, and I'm going to not create a file resource, but I'm going to add the media. Well, sorry, I'm going to create a file resource. I'm not going to add the media to the course page. And I'll click upload for that, and there we have it there. And so that's uploaded, but you can't see the file size, and this is what was sort of confusing me. I mean, I was just expecting, yeah, if you say display file size, it'll just appear on the right hand side. Doesn't quite do that though. So let's see what it actually does do. You open that up, there's my QR code, and if I go to appearance here, I can actually say show size here, and I might even show the upload modified date just for now. And yeah, I'll just hit that and go save and return to course. And now you can see I've got this extra information down here about the upload date and the 2.1 kilobytes sort of thing. So that's what we're talking about here, is that there seems to be this horizontal rule here, which actually isn't a horizontal rule. Looks like that, but it's not. And these are on two separate lines here. I think that's a bit odd. Now, it's been a while since I've actually done this showing the file size sort of thing, so I didn't actually notice this in 4.3. Actually, I didn't test it in 4.3, but hey, Jebro, if you say so, I believe you. Anyway, for now, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the inspect, and you'll see what I saw. And this is the source of my utter surprise and confusion, is that when I came in here, I noticed that the actual item itself here is now this item here, which is a div, and the div has a class activity grid. And I don't know, this is getting a bit small, but anyway, you can see there's a little grid marker there that actually says that this activity, this is a grid. These are using CSS Grid. That's not actually using Flexbox anymore, or say, you know, a lot for the longest time. The last times I was looking at this CSS here for how these things are rendered, they've always been Flexbox, sometimes Bootstrap with Bootstrap columns and things like that. But now they're using Grid, CSS Grid. Wow, that's awesome! And the awesome thing about it is, and the cause for the problem that Jepra is experiencing, sorry if I'm so excited about it, but is this one right here. So right here you can see icon name, group mode. This is the template rows and the template areas for the grid here. So this content here, this is how it's actually appearing. So what you can see is that the afterlink information here, this afterlink information, this is given the grid area of afterlink, and in our template rows in our activity grid, afterlink is appearing way down here, right? In the following 4 columns after the icon column is over. So it's indented the width of the column area, and it's in this area down here. Now, inside of the inspector, you can actually look at this a little bit better by, say, display area names, and it gets a little bit, a lot of these don't actually have any content in them, and the width is actually min content, minimum of the content, so that makes them essentially 0 width, and that's why you have a whole bunch of them overlapping. But what you can see here is that this particular box here, this is the afterlink box. This one here is the name box, which is in the template, that's the width of 1 FR, one fraction of the screen, and the rest are all min content. So if the content increases, then they'll increase and things like that. So what we have to do in order to get rid of this is we have to actually get rid of, well, we have to change the template areas here that we've got if we want this to display differently. Grid is awesome because it gives you so much control over, well, 2 dimensions. In fact, that's probably what I should put up on the screen thing here. Moodle in 2D, because that's kind of what it is. 2D layouts are really easy to make in Grid, so that's probably why they're moving towards it. Sorry for the Flexbox fans out there. I've always been more of a Grid boy myself. So I'm kind of excited to see this. But also, this suggests that Moodle is moving in a direction where they're going to be doing some pretty impressive stuff in the layout of these items later. So this is definitely something, when I saw this, I just thought, oh, geez, watch this space. Anyway, there's our grid there that you can actually see, and you can see the division between upper and lower here. And we can also see that this box here, this line here is not actually an HR. It's not an element, an HR element of itself. It's actually part of this div. And so if we see this div with the afterlink, we can see that in the CSS here, we've also got a margin top of half a rem, all right, half a root element. We can get rid of that one, that'll close it down a bit. We can get rid of the padding, and that'll close it down even further. But the thing that's causing that line that looks like a horizontal rule is actually the border of the top here, and it's 1 pixel solid, and it's a gray sort of a color. Well, it's DEE2E6. Okay, so if we get rid of that, the line disappears. And if I remove the grid lines from the inspector, the overlay, yep, now you can see that they're gone. The line itself is actually gone. So that's how you get rid of the line. Get rid of the margin. That tightens us up even more. But I think, according to the question, what we want is this up here. We want it up here beside the PNG up here. That's going to be a little bit tricky-ish, but we can do it. But the thing that's tricky about it is because this is a grid now, we actually have to change the layout of this grid here. So this is activity item, activity grid. Now to rewrite this, I've actually opened it up in a text editor before. So this is the original here, activity item, activity grid. And there are some things like display grid, align item center, grid template columns, and things like that. And a lot of these things we don't actually need to mess with. Actually, ooh, I should have copied that one. Right, let me copy that one. And I'm going to just paste that one in here as well. So if I just paste that in there, good. So we've got min content, 1FR, min content, min content, min content. That means minimum content. So this is the icon. However wide the icon is, that's how wide that column is going to be. The next one should be 1 fraction. That's the name, right? The next one's going to be minimum content, minimum content, minimum content. So we got 5 columns here, and it's icon, name, group mode, completion, actions. Okay, but let's say we want to actually have another piece in here. We want to actually have icon, name, afterlink, and we'll keep the other 3, like group mode, completion, actions. And the alternate content or something like that, let's remove that for now. Now, in reality, if you're going to try to do this seriously, you want to keep all of the things that you can have in there. Well, actually, why not? I'm going to leave that one there. The availability I've got there in there as well, right? So if we do this, this basically says in the grid that we've got a 5 wide grid. It's 5 wide, so I'm going to want to have another alt content. All right, so we're going to have icon, name, afterlink, group mode, completion, action. So I've got 6 columns now. So I'm actually going to need a 6th column here as well. And I'm just making them all min contents to keep the style happening. Now in this one won't actually quite do what we want it to do, but it'll be pretty close. So here we go, icon name, and here we have this. Okay, so let's grab this and we'll paste it in and we'll see how that changes things on our Moodle. So I've copied that to clipboard. I'm actually going to go into the appearance settings here for a second, go into themes and boost. I'm going to edit the boost theme and I'm going to go to the raw sass. There, not sus. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I've got 6 in each of my rows, right? So these are this is a row, this is a row, this is a row. And these alt content and things like that, these are the names, the grid area as specified in the CSS for each of those items. And I should probably point those out. I'll point them out in a little bit. But anyway, this should actually change things around a little bit. I'm going to leave that open in that tab and I'm going to move into a new tab and we'll look back in here again. And you can see that this has actually changed things a little bit around. Not exactly as we like. We're not quite done yet. But you can see that over here on the right hand side, I've got now this 2.1 kilobyte uploaded blah, blah, blah is there. So if I don't want to copy it, I want to inspect it. Come on, get my inspector up. So inspector gadget. So here we've got it over on the right hand side. And if we look at this, this grid now you can see that it's all on one row. So it is actually technically on one row, but these are min content. So they're wrapping. Okay. So they're wrapping around and that's why these are minimum content. Now there are a few things that we can do to force them on the single content thing. We can actually give these an equal spacing, say. So say 1 FR for this one and a 1 FR for that one. We could do that. So if we go to our grid here, now our templates, we just can shift around this 1 FR, for example, or we can change this min content here to 1 FR, so 1 fraction again, and this divvies up these 2 that are actually fat ones. It's going to make them both 1 fraction of the remaining area, right? So 1 each. Now that's still not going to look that great, so you might want to change things even more. Maybe make this a min content, but then it's going to wrap, right? So it's going to wrap like that. So then you know, this is where you're actually trying to, you know, if you've got really long names, that's going to be really cumbersome looking. But if we go min content there, and then let's say, well, actually, if we don't really do that, we can actually just take this side here. Well, actually, let's go back on that. Let's take that 1 FR. And let's put it where the name is again, okay? Because that's where it originally started. So 1 FR, 1 fraction on the name. That makes the name nice and big and fat. And what we can do is we can take the afterlink div, And what we can actually do here, well, first of all, we do actually want to get rid of these, margin top and the padding top. We want to get rid of that padding and margin. And we want to get rid of the border on the top. That gets rid of that line over the top of it. And in here, we might also want to add, let's say, white space, and we'll say no wrap. And if we do that, now it's not going to wrap and it's going to sit over on the right-hand side there. Okay, so you can do that with the name as well, but you know, the name there might be times where you actually want it to wrap. And this is going to be all the way over the right-hand side, which may be a little bit irritating. You play with the positioning and you can actually get that further across there. If I were to do something like that with the name, activity name, and just say, okay, grid activity name area, white space, no wrap. And then if I wanted to change this to I'll change the 1FR across again, and that should actually present where we want it on this one. Oh, come on. Here we go. So we'll take this one fraction, which is currently on the name. I'm going to put it on the 1FR. Put it on the rest of it. So this is basically saying that the name will take up as little space as it possibly can, but the name must have as much space as it needs. Trouble is, if you do actually have doing it this way, if you do have activity names and stuff, you know, resource names that are really long, they will never wrap. So well, I can demonstrate that. Maybe. Well, wait a minute. I haven't saved any of this. Just let me, I'll save this to, let's go afterlink. I need to grab that afterlink one. So I'm going to copy that rule there. Let's go back, add a bit more sass. Oi, come on. Give me some sass. Love a bit of sass. All right, I'll paste that in there. These ones, we don't actually want to comment them out. What we do want to do in here, for example, is we'll set them border top to unset. We'll change 5 rem here to 0.5 rem to unset. So we're unsetting the values that were in here. So unset for all 3 of those, and we're adding our white space, no wrap. Now we've got here min content 1FR. We actually also wanted that to be moved over to after the name 1FR. Okay, so we've got the name, icon's minimum content, name is minimum content. Afterlink is going to appear straight after the name, and it's going to be the fat one. All right, let's save changes and go back and have a look. Okay, we go back in here. Let's refresh our screen, and it's still not looking exactly what we're after because, right, that name is currently not wrapping, right? So what we want is here, if we go inspect on that particular element there, it's div class activity name, which is this one, which is this one inside the grid. So inside the grid here, this is the one where the grid area is called name. And so I'm going to add to this one white space, no wrap, right? And that's sort of got it exact. I imagine that that's exactly how you actually want it to be there. So I'm going to copy that rule as well, and I'm going to add that into my Sass. Come on, Sass. And boom, there we go, we got that one. And this is superfluous because it's already predefined, and so anything that's predefined I'm going to get rid of because I don't want to have replicated CSS in my Sass. Okay, let's do another refresh on this and see if that's done it. And that has done it there. Now the thing is that if I go into edit mode on and I hit the pencil to edit this name, if I give that a bit of copy. So Oh, I can't hold down control and oh, okay, that's a bit irritating. I'm gonna just have to paste it into my text editor here for a second, and we'll see what we can do. All right, now I got a whole bunch of them. Okay, copied that. Now let's paste it in here. Whoa, there's my QR code. If you want to scan it, go ahead. Make my day. All right, I know. Paste. All right, now I got a whole bunch of them in a row. And you'll see the issue with doing it this way exactly. It's not quite perfect because it's going to push way out here because this is saying minimum content and it's also saying do not wrap. Under no circumstances do you wrap. So you might want to actually change things, make it a little bit less unforgiving of long names, because that will also be, if somebody's accessing this from a mobile phone, this isn't the perfect idea here. So you might also want to add, say, a media query that says when the screen is bigger than this or something, or a max width, or truncate if you really want to just cut off the thing, or just allow, once it reaches a certain width, or once the viewport is a certain width or something, you might want to allow wrapping and say, or when it's too narrow. When it's narrow enough, you say, okay, fine, start wrapping, please, to make that a little bit more forgiving based on the width of the actual big jelly bean sort of a thing here. But the thing is that you can actually do whatever you like to actually make these things come together like this. If we go back to our settings, for example, and get rid of that, let's say in the appearance, we don't want the update and modified date, but we do want the size. We don't want the type. The type, for some reason, is also attached to the name, but the size isn't. That's a little bit as an odd decision, I think. But anyway, I guess they're assuming it's going to be on a second line or something. Save and return to course, and there we have the other information is gone from there. I think it's a little odd. I would actually put the other file metadata in one place. So if you've got your PNG here, I'd actually put the PNG information together with the 2.1 kilobytes of information as well. For some reason it's here though. And interestingly enough, this also sort of blew my mind when I actually first did the inspect on this. But that PNG there, you see when I mouse over it, it actually highlights the QR code link. Well, that is because this here is actually, there's the span with the name, and look at that, after. This is an after, isn't it? No, it's not an after because the content is empty here. Okay, so what's that after doing? Wait a minute. It's a little bubble. Wait a minute, where's the PNG coming from? Okay. Ooh, I told you this is sending me on a jolly old rabbit hole. There's a span tag there. Is that it? That's it there. It's in a span. Okay. It's in a span that is following. Okay, and this ahref. Well, that's a little bit bizarre because, okay, there's something a little bit weird happening here because this this the anchor, that's what's causing the link to happen, and the PNG is technically not linked here. But I guess the after might be actually just causing it to, the clickable link area is a little bit fatter, and so that the, okay, that is kind of a weird way to do it. Okay, this is the rabbit hole that keeps on digging. But ultimately, yeah, that's how, if you wanted to actually make this all on one line, that's one way that you'd probably do it. I would suggest actually that perhaps a different kind of CSS is probably going to be better for that. If you want to actually do this fully and properly, and really consider exactly all the elements of the layout, rather than just doing this, which is kind of hacky, and it'll do the job. It'll replicate the result that you're intending, but it's got a bunch of caveats to it. Okay, so anyway, in sum, the section areas, the activity links and everything, they're going grid. You can see there's still some flexbox in here. There's some deflex and stuff, and that's going to be like display flex is attached to it. Whoa, with an important, flex is important, man. Flex is important. So display flex, important. They got some flex happening in there. They got flex direction column and stuff like that to make it expandable and things like that. But grid has started to take over. Predictions of the future, that grid is going to become more of a thing, and flex is probably going to go down, because I don't know. I mean, grid you can do this stuff with grid template areas, and this is kind of really powerful, because you can set your layout. You can actually determine your layout really easily. It's kind of once you learn it, it's much more intuitive, I think, than flex is. But those who love flex, more power to you. But so what this suggests to me, though, that grid really excels when you're making 2D layouts, and when you want them dynamically to be able to say stack on top or something like that. So if there's not enough room, you can make them automatically create new columns when you need it. So grid template columns, for example, you can have it so that it will create as many columns as you like, or collapse them down and stack them as you need, and things like that. And you can have, so for example, in here where they're actually saying, like in this icon is mentioned 3 times on the left hand side there, right? So that just means that this icon is actually 3 grid sections high. The second and third are actually 0 height now, because everything's in one line. But if there were multiples, then the icon is set to cover all 3 of those. And so it can, theoretically, if you wanted to have it sit in the middle, you could. If you wanted to have it sit at the bottom and have all the lines above it, you could do that. You have a lot more power with this, both dimensions, vertical and horizontal. So 2D Moodle. So there we have it. Okay, so I hope that answers the question that we're actually originally facing. If I bring that back up here, there's my question. There's my question right there. What happens if you want to show the file size? You can. It's the file size and the file metadata seems to largely be being put in another grid section below that, and it's got actually a margin top that's actually hitting it. That's the CSS that you're doing it. It's not actually a horizontal rule, even though without my magic CSS, if I just come in here, actually if I come in here and I'll just switch it back off again for a second, just going to comment it out. Yo-ho, 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 that's all commented out now. Okay, and now if I come back here, refresh this. So that looks like a horizontal rule, but it's not a horizontal rule. For some reason, this is in a span that's right next to the name and as part of the name block in the grid. And this is the afterlink information, which is appearing in a separate block again. So that's really what you got to check out. If you're going to do this yourself, work with this yourself, most browsers have a pretty good inspector these days. But my recommendation is really the creme de la creme for doing this inspector type work is really Firefox. Firefox's inspector is just, I find it to be a lot more usable than the others. I've tried this in, you know, Chrome and some other browsers as well, and I just find that Firefox's one just seems a bit more polished. So if you're going to have a serious look at this, I would recommend you get yourself spin yourself up some Firefox love and give it a try in there. So that's it. Thank you very much. And when I was saying that last bit, I think I had the had the YouTube comment up there. But yeah, what I'm saying is, yeah, this name in the top part here, 2.1 kilobytes, is in the separate section down here in the separate blocks. That's what it's all about. Sorry, I shouldn't have had the thingamabib above it when I was doing that. Anyway, I'm going to stop right there because I think I could go another hour or so just going down this rabbit hole, but I'll save that for later on, and I'll geek out by myself and give you guys the abridged version in another video later. If you don't want to miss it, like and smash that subscribe button and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, exciting times to come with this. This has really got me thinking, wow, what are they going to do with that? And I think there's going to be some interesting changes happening here. Hopefully all good, not so irritating. But actually, you know what? I'm just looking at it now, and this name does appear to be sitting riding a little higher than center on the yeah, because see, I'll tell you, rabbit holes like this is why I can't finish it. Yeah, look at that center line for the division between the two rows here. That center line goes straight through the icon because the icon's in number 1, number 2, and number 3. It's in line 1, line 2, line 3. It's in all 3 lines of the grid. So it's allowed to cross the boundaries there because we've got it listed here in the grid template errors. It's allowed to go all the way through. Oh, sorry, it's actually 5 now, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lines high. They've got a grid there of 6 lines. It's just everything is mostly has 0 content in there, so it's 0 width. But it is actually a grid of 6 lines high. Wow. There's yeah, that looks like they're planning something. So it'll be interesting to see how this evolves over the next couple of iterations of Moodle. Okay, again, no more too deep rabbit hole. Okay, thank you very much. Like, smash, subscribe. Excellent. See you in the next video. Cheers.